walk. What is this peasant doing? Waking up in the morning like this? It must be stopped. Greetings, friends. Here today we are going to stop this peasant from waking up in the morning. We shall do it by putting him to work immediately. Ho ho, good one. Thomas, let us begin. So our story takes place in the old medieval times, and our protagonist is a poor peasant who has just woken up, and he woke up, as peasants often did, on a bed made of straw inside his small wooden hut. It was barely a hut, really, it was more like a shack. The roof had caved in years ago, and the whole thing was held together by sheer neglect and the hope that one day, their luck would turn around and they would have enough money to rebuild it, or at least patch up the roof. But today was not that day. The morning light was just beginning to filter in through the cracks in the walls, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air and the chickens pecking about in the corner. Outside, the rooster had just begun his noisy morning routine, announcing to all who lived within earshot that a new day had dawned. Our protagonist yawned, stretched his aching back and got out of bed. He was hungry, but not so hungry that he would eat the bread that his wife had baked the evening before. No, that would be selfish. That was for his children. He was going to let them eat the bread so that they could grow up tall and strong and maybe, just maybe, get out of the village and make something of themselves. He wasn't going to burden them with his own hunger. No, sir. His hunger was his own to bear. So instead of eating bread, he poured himself a cup of ale and drank deeply. Now, that was a nice start to the morning. The ale wasn't great, but it was warm, and it filled his belly with something other than wind. He poured himself another cup and took it over to the table where his wife was sitting. "Good morning, my love," she said without turning around. "Did you sleep well?" "As well as one can sleep with a roof full of holes," he replied, taking a swig from his cup. She nodded her head in agreement and then turned to face him. Her face was lined and weathered like an old piece of wood left out in the sun too long. But her eyes were still bright and full of life. "You should get up," she said. "The children will be up soon, and then we must get started on the fields." He nodded and took another drink of ale. Life was hard, but it was good. He loved his wife, he loved his children. He loved the simple life they lived here in the village, even if the roof was caving in, and the fields were barren, and the winter was coming. Life was good. Just then, a loud crash came from outside, followed by the sound of shattering glass. The two peasants looked at each other and then at the door. "I think," the woman said, her voice barely a whisper, "that it is time we got up." The two peasants slowly got out of bed and began to dress. They knew that whatever had happened, they needed to be there for their children. We walked hand in hand out of the hut and into the morning light. As they rounded the corner of their little house, they saw a group of men standing in front of their neighbor's cottage, which had been split in two by a large tree that had fallen during the night. The men were helping the family to clear away the debris, and the children were standing nearby, watching with wide eyes. The father felt a pang of fear in his chest. What if the tree had fallen on their house? What if they had been crushed in their sleep? But then he looked over at his wife and saw the same question in her eyes. They had lost everything: their home, their belongings, their futures. All they had was each other and their children, and they would get through this together. Just like they always did. The end. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.